So first, thank you very much to the organizer and to Tunisian Health Alliance for the invitation and the opportunity to introduce this session. My name is Damien Jacquard. I'm a partner with Deloitte. I'm leading financial advisory for Francophone Africa. I'm based in North Africa. I will go through a market snapshot of the healthcare sector in Africa, and also I will give you an overview of the M&A market in the healthcare market in Africa. Africa is undergoing tremendous demographic, urban, and epidemiological transformation, all of which will have significant implications for the future types, quantities, and costs of healthcare services. The current state of the African healthcare sector is characterized by a huge lack of financing and a bad allocation of budget. The continent would naturally suffer of worsening health indicators compared to more developed regions. As we can see this last year, the gap between the health indicator in the African continent compared to Europe is still important. As an example, you can see, for example, the current health expenditure per capita is $4,000 per capita in Europe, what it is only $83 per capita in sub-Saharan Africa. Of course, there is a large disparity between the countries in Africa for every component. I mean for epidemiology, health financing, human resources, health coverage, regulatory environment, and private sector participation. So it's a global picture with large discrepancy, differences from a country to another country. The African healthcare sector is undergoing a structural challenge that need to be fixed across several dimensions. First, the African countries are struggling to provide infrastructure, staff, and commodities needed to provide basic health services. The quality of service provided are still questionable. For example, 10% of the hospitalized patients are expected to face complication. There is an insufficient financing system in the region. As an example, in sub-Saharan Africa, out-of-pocket financing level is equivalent to 33%, when it is only 15% in Europe. Also, the African healthcare system is insufficiently able to prepare and manage health crises. The R&D investment represents only 1.1% of the global world investment in the healthcare sector, and the region is characterized by an underfunded facility and health infrastructure. Also, it has to be noticed that the COVID-19 pandemic increased again the gap. The consequences or the impact of the COVID on the health sector is a collapse of health system in a lot of African countries. There is also a disruption of the supply chain, a disruption of not COVID health services, and a pressure on countries' health budget. COVID also provided some positive outcome with an acceleration of the digitalization of the sector, but also an acceleration of the PPP collaboration, often under the impetus of donors. We are giving here an overview of the current funding and capacities for health science research capacity in Africa. As many countries in the region are developing targets that reflect the aim to achieve more stability and expansion in their health ecosystem, the level of domestic expenditure allocated to R&D remain largely insufficient to achieve the objective set. For example, the domestic expenditure in R&D in developed country represent more than 2% of the GDP of the country, when in most of the country in Africa, the domestic expenditure in R&D represent less than 0.1% of the local GDP of every of this country. Let's go to a few insights on the M&A market. Another evidence is that most of the African countries lack of significant private investment and count considerably on the state intervention. Africa has a funding shortage in the health sector. Country must boost public health spending by 2.5 times on average. Governments are unlikely to be able to meet the health finance requirement based on present trends and competing demand for public resources. African governments spent only 46 billion USD when the local expenditure needed to cover the continent's actual need in the healthcare sector is estimated to $140 billion a year. So there is no denying that the role of private sector in financing the increasingly need of the healthcare in Africa is becoming more and more important and even vital. On this slide, we relay with our colleague of the AFCA with some figure of the healthcare sector in the region. We can notice that the investment market is still marked by a lack of deals in number and value, even though the trend is gaining more and more space in the last few years. In fact, an increase of the M&A activity in the healthcare sector is expected starting from 2021 due to the increasing demand for affordable healthcare and the post-pandemic context where deals were delayed last year. Especially the COVID-19 pandemic has exposed the importance of certain key sectors such as healthcare and pharmaceutical. This is what appeared from a recent confidence survey Deloitte did, where we questioned the professionals of private equity in Africa regarding their view on M&A's activity, tendency, and future plans. Even though the private funding is still active on the African healthcare market, we can notice that the value of deals realized by main investors range mainly between 10 and 50 million USD, which is still considered a small market. The organizer asked me to provide you personal feedback from the deal we have experienced in the African healthcare in the last year. So from my experience, the African healthcare deals are running some matters which have considerable impact on the success of the transaction. I can notably mention the lack or weakness in the governance of the targeted company, an insufficient quality of the financial information, and sometimes a lack of transparency, sometimes the confusion between the personal and the professional assets. Of course, all elements mentioned here are true not only for the healthcare sector, but for many sectors in Africa. So finally, I can draw your attention to more specific matters to the healthcare sector, such as the lack of knowledge of the manager and shareholder of the company in the field of finance and valuation, where there is a need of more explanation and training to explain how the valuation of a company should be made, even if we are talking about a clinic or a pharmaceutical company. Finally, I point out that, of course, the success of a deal in the healthcare is strongly dependent of the existence of qualified medical staff and doctors, and the quality of the management of every company, that of course is fundamental for the success of a transaction. Most of the problems faced by the sector fall into one direction, which is the lack of financial resources and the appropriate incentive to encourage the PPP. A focus should be given to the impact of the last pandemic, which emphasized the limitation of the sector, health worker shortage, lack of financing, dependency on importation for drug purchases, challengeable supply chain model. The pandemic should be thought as an opportunity to fix the sector problem in depth and to make a quick shift forward modernization and innovation in the system. Even with the current low level of allocated fund, an orientation toward private investment in the healthcare sector, which is largely dominated by state intervention, is still encouraged, especially in a region with considerable growth prospects. Thank you very much.
And do we have any questions for Damien in the room?
Yes. So.
Okay, we have a microphone on its way.
My name is Chief Sam, and I'm looking to, in the next few weeks or so, still at early stages, I'm looking to lead a group that is interested to do 26 hospitals across Africa on a PPP model. If you were to advise us, what could be your advice on how we can come in like A380 landing very softly at the Dubai airport, not A380 landing in a forest somewhere in Africa? What could be your advice to us? Thank you.
Well, it's a specific question, so I don't know if I will be able to give you all the comment in this format, but we'll be happy to have a discussion together and see how we can help. But what I can say perhaps is the size of the project. So it could make things difficult, but at the same time perhaps easier, because we know that sometimes most of the financial investors have a problem with the size of the project. Individually, every project is sometimes too small, and sometimes the financial investor need to find a biggest project to have a certain critical size. So it can be seen at the same time that the difficulty for you to develop such a project with 26 hospitals, what you said, but at the same time, it may be an advantage for certain investors that will be happy to consider such a big project. It's a greenfield project? Yeah, so it makes things also a little bit more difficult because, as you know, if you're in Africa and you know a little bit about the project in Africa, today it's easier to raise funds for a brownfield project. When something exists and based on a model who demonstrate a success, you're able to duplicate. And I don't know if you realize 5 hospitals, you say, okay, from this model I will develop 26 other hospitals. Greenfield projects are probably more difficult to develop. So perhaps an idea could be to find partnership and to be able to find partners with a track record of big success in developing hospital, currently having hospital with success, a good model, profitability, and perhaps develop this project together to be able to demonstrate that it's not purely a greenfield, but a brownfield. I think you should talk to Tunisia Health Alliance also on this project. You may find complementarity, perhaps, with CAIS. Perfect.
While I was speaking to him, the good news came in
So my advice. So it's my first good advice to you. Okay.
We have time for more questions, or is everybody done there?
Yes.
Thank you, Damien, for the presentation. But what is your personal feeling for how things are going to be on the next few years?
Excuse me, can you?
What is your personal or professional feeling also through your experience of how the trend's gonna be on the next few years? Because as Nadia presented earlier, is that we're having like more interest in the healthcare sector maybe in the past couple of years than in the past 3 years. Is that trend going to be always there, or this is just because of COVID-19, so we had all of the deals that had to happen in 2021 because everything was closed, or this is going to be the case for you for the next years also? Thank you.
No, first thing, I think it's of course there is a consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic, but even before the COVID-19 pandemic, the healthcare sector was a priority for a lot of investors, for a lot of private equity. And as you may know, all of you, every private equity, every financial investor is focused on certain sector, and for most of them, the healthcare sector is a priority. So of course, this is something very very positive. However, there is a certain difficulty even to close a deal in this sector, for which there is an appetite. And the difficulty are those I mentioned before, which can be seen as very small difficulty, but in practice, it can make things very difficult, and it can be a problem to close a deal. So I mentioned the question, and even when you have a very good fundamental for a clinic or a pharmaceutical company with good market share, the good products, the good services, the good offer, quality of the management, quality of the staff, everything can be here. And sometimes you find difficulties coming from what you can imagine, problem of governance, problem of quality of financial information, transparency. You know that all the financial investors are most of them funded by the donors in Africa, and they need to invest in company where the financial information is accurate. So it can be a real problem to close a deal, so that can be a real problem. Also, you have problem of size, because sometimes the businesses in every country are too small. So perhaps you need to imagine a kind of combination of clinic, a combination of pharmaceutical industry, to have a group of companies that could be really interesting to develop a project. One company, one clinic with, 120 beds is now, most of the time, not sufficient, 120 beds. And a financial investor will ask for a bigger project, and perhaps the idea would be to make a deal with 2 or 3 other clinics and be able to start a M&A process, not only for one clinic, but 3 of them. Which was question which is also a difficulty coming back to the governance, as you need to align the interest of 3 shareholders, and for every clinic, perhaps there is not only one shareholder, but a couple of shareholders. And also there is also a question of financial education, if I can say. I mean that the project we are speaking about in the healthcare sector are most of them held by doctors. So they are good for all in relation with medicine, and they are of course intelligent people, etc., etc. But they are not really. They don't know about valuation, how you do a deal, what's the process M&A, what is a reasonable value for their clinic or their pharmaceutical industry. What are the figures? what's a normal multiple of EBITDA, for example? And this can be also an issue because the expectation can be so high that at the end of the day nobody would come, and there will be no deal. So it's also a kind of education of the market, and to be able to explain how things happens, how you manage a M&A process, and what is reasonable to ask, what is not reasonable.
Just to add in, Nigeria spend over $2 billion yearly on medical tourism. How can one fill that gap? Sorry.
Can you?
Nigeria,
Yes.
a population of over 210 million people. Nigeria spend over $2 billion
Yes.
yearly on medical tourism.
Yes.
So you have the citizens of Nigerians going overseas
Yes.
to get treatment. How
Okay.
can we close that gap?
Just to tell me a little bit, where do they go?
All over India, the UK, the US.
Yeah.
It depends on affordability, and also sometimes it might be high net worth individuals, it might be politically exposed people or
Yeah.
middle class.
Yeah.
But we've seen a lot of middle class going overseas for medical treatment.
Yeah. First, to develop the capabilities locally. So that would be the first thing. If you're able to develop the capabilities locally, but perhaps we can think also more globally Africa, and developing the capabilities in your country, but not only in your country, but in other countries in Africa, and try to develop first an ecosystem in Africa, which is a little bit the case in Tunisia. In Tunisia, you have a lot of tourism for health. You have a lot of people coming from everywhere to receive des soins, to receive medical. So perhaps to think the continent globally as a whole and not as a 53 country. And after that, being able to develop locally.
Hi, thank you. You mentioned access to financing as a sort of key enabler for the sector. Do you have a view on what insurance impact is and the extent to which that is also a critical component to creating significant growth in the sector, access to healthcare insurance effectively?
I'm not sure I will be able to answer
okay.
this one. It's,
do you see in the more developed markets that you look at in the healthcare sector, do you find that there is an increased availability of healthcare insurance, and that that's another key pillar of growing a robust healthcare system that is both available privately and publicly? You don't have an
no,
opinion.
I
That's
don't
fine.
have an
I just
opinion
thought
on
I'd
this
ask
one.
the
I'm
question.
sorry.
That's fine.
Okay, sadly, we've run out of time for any more questions now, but let's give a warm round of applause for Damien. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And I'd like to welcome to the stage Kees